Well, let's talk about where we are with all things TNA, because that's really ultimately where you're going to land. Meltzer would say there's a thought process that goes with it that WWE and you cutting ties with WWE means they no longer saw value in you as a performer worth the TV time to invest. But then on September 1st, this is in the Observer, quote, sending out a message on its mobile alert stating that the meeting before between Angle and WWE executives was heated and confrontational, and they labeled Angle as an emotional wreck when he left the building. When you see that the WWE is, I don't know, this doesn't feel like it's very WWE-esque. It almost feels like they're playing dirty a little bit at the time. Did that hurt your feelings? Does it generate a call from you to Vince, or what do you remember about that?
You know what? It didn't hurt my feelings. I was a little bit deterred by it, but I was an emotional wreck.
Okay.
I was hard to deal with, especially the last 5 or 6 months. So them putting out that statement, I'm sure that they partly put it out because they needed to show whose fault it was, I guess. But at the same time, I think they put it out there to show that or to refrain from me signing with another company.
Yeah.
Probably scaring another company from wanting to sign me because I'm in a quote unquote emotional wreck. So, I don't expect these new companies to make a decision from a statement from WWE. I expect them to sit down with me personally and find out how I'm doing at that time. And, and talk to me as a person. That's how I would evaluate a person, was how they were in that moment at that particular time, not in the past. And that's what WWE was doing.
You did have a statement on your website at the time. Many say I am, some may say I'm not, but I want you to know that over the 6 solid years of nonstop wrestling action under my belt, from the shows to the world tours, I treated every single match as if it were my last. I've never known a time in my life, from training, competition, or entertainment, where I have not tried to give you over 100%. I honestly do not know of any other way to wrestle or perform, and I've always wanted to give you, the fans, what I would expect to see. So I feel like that's a pretty nice message to put out there, that, hey, you're not addressing that they've maybe slandered you a little bit, but you're also saying, hey, I'm giving 100% and I always will for you fans, which is a nice message.
Yeah, because it's all about the fans.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what WWE thinks or what TNA thinks or what the promotion thinks. It's all about what the fans think. And I wanted them to know I've always put everything on the line for them. And I've always done that and will continue to do that until the day I die.
Another thing you put out at the time is that you didn't feel like you had reached your peak as a pro wrestler, which we just briefly touched on. You listed Ric Flair, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker, saying that they really hit their prime after where you were so far time-wise in your career. Quote, but there's one big difference between us. I'm by far the most aggressive and intense athlete of all on the mat. When I step into the ring, I treat it as real. It feels real. And then I play it like a real shoot fight, which, I do think is the differentiator between, say, your style versus a guy like a Ric Flair or an Undertaker and what have you. But is that also a nice phrasing to help sell yourself to potential MMA opportunities?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially the work shoot ones, the K1s and the Pride Fighting, where they were rumored that, some of those fights were half work, half shoots. So yeah, I was trying to market myself into those markets and, seeing if, testing the waters and seeing if they would bite. Without a doubt, you're right.
Another quote here from you. Injuries have always been a natural part of the business in my life, but where I have failed is not taking the time to recover. When I'm out, the mental stress sitting back becomes worse than the physical pain. Something tells my inner soul to go back regardless of the condition. The funny thing is, this obsession is what the industry loves, but this obsession can also be my destruction. And you even were quoted as saying that the pain had gotten so bad from some of these injuries that you would have to take a Motrin just to get out of bed and take out the garbage. That's when you probably realize, hey man, something's got to change, right?
Yeah, and it was a hell of a lot more than the Motrin I had. But yeah, I the way I wrestled and sitting at home, I always wanted to be at home when I was on the road, especially when I was injured. But when I got home, I always wanted to be on the road. It was a really a mental FUCK.
Yeah.
To myself. I think it's my OCD always compulsing about things. And, you're sitting at home and wondering what the boys are doing on the road and how the show's going. And you're sitting there watching TV, trying to rest your body. You get a little restless and you want to do something. So you start thinking about, when I get back there, what am I going to do? How am I going to treat this? What changes am I going to make? And you end up being very restless, and you want to get back to work, and it doesn't matter how bad the injury is. You make yourself believe you're okay and you're going to go back and do it. And that's what I did, especially with my neck. The 5 different broken necks that I had, always rushed back, and I never should have. I should have taken the right amount of time, because I would have had a longer career and I would have been healthier throughout my career if I didn't have all those neck injuries. That really set me back.
Well, one of the things we haven't known each other a very long time, but one of the things I know about you is when Kurt Angle says he's going to do something, he's going to do everything in his power to do it. And I know that you also don't want to let anybody down. So I feel like you were probably in a spot where when you're at work, you feel like, man, I don't want to let the family down. I need to be there. But when you're at home, man, I don't want to let work down. I need to be there. And I think a lot of business people who maybe identify as workaholics, they feel that way too, where they want to do well and provide by their family, but they do it so long and they're like, man, am I missing the really valuable time with my family? But then when they're home, man, I'm missing an opportunity to take care of them, and I'm missing work. I need to get back to work and do right by them. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Catch 22. You're absolutely right.
What was your support system like at the time? Was everybody pulling for you, like family wise? Your family unit at the time, they were a big advocate of you walking away from WWE?
Yeah, they were all supportive. They knew that my time had come, that I was burned out and I needed somewhere else to spread my wings and show my skills with. And they knew that I wasn't happy with WWE for the last year I was there. And, I was very vocal about it with my family, and I was pretty vocal about it at work too, at WWE, which, I pissed off a lot of the office people, but that
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Exactly.
The Observer would write in regards to you, of course, he is now the single most in-demand individual, perhaps in the history of the industry. He now has the ability to, at least on a short-term basis, make more money than he ever has before, and perhaps in the process, destroy his body even further. While few will publicly say so, virtually every major promotion, from Ring of Honor to several groups in Japan to UFC, to numerous other MMA groups and everyone in between, has expressed everything from curiosity to extreme interest in using Angle as he heals up from the current batch of injuries. Nobody has said so publicly. Privately, everyone, and I mean everyone you can think of, is trying to contact him and talking about ideas of how he could be used. While he can write his own ticket in pro wrestling, from the ability to work a light schedule for big money in Japan or TNA, it is in MMA where he has the ability to get a one-day payday that could very conceivably approach his annual $1 million salary from working in WWE. Boy, just reading that back, this had to be a pretty exciting time, just about, hey, what's possible and what could be next, right?
Yes, I was actually pleasantly surprised that everybody was pursuing me. I being in WWE, and you're actually trapped in that company, so you don't know what your opportunities are until you end up leaving it. And there was a lot of opportunity for me, and I was very excited about it.